YouTube video. This is Ballis's Opinions and Peace, where I talk about my opinions and just give my piece on what is going on in the world. So today's video is going to be about what is going on in the labor market currently in Canada and in the United States, and what is going on with all these mass resignations and people not wanting to work. There's probably a reason. There is a reason. There's a good reason. No one's just quitting their jobs. So when I first came up with this video idea a couple months ago, I was going to talk about how it is okay to just have a 9-to-5 job or a shift job. Just one job that you clock in, clock out, you go home, you rest, you play video games, you spend time with your friends, spend time with your family, that we shouldn't be pressured by this hustle culture of go, 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 go all the time, because it is very, very unhealthy. However, I realized that a lot of us, due to the fact that jobs are not paying us enough, we have to buy into the hustle culture. We have to buy into the gig economy, because one job is not going to pay the bills. One job can't buy your house. Like where I live, I need like $60,000 for down payment. I don't have that in my bank account. You know, if I had a kid, how am I supposed to pay for daycare? How are you supposed to pay? I know in America I get student loans. We have student loans here, but they're not the same as what's going on there. I can pay down my student loans with like Focus, you know. You can't do that with one job, because a lot of jobs are not paying enough, unfortunately. And so most people have to hustle because you have to pay your bills, unfortunately. So the biggest problem that we are facing right now is that a lot of jobs are not paying a living wage. Things. A minimum wage is what a government of a state, a province, or country states that the workers should be paid, at the very least legally, by the companies. And unfortunately, in Canada and in America, the minimum wage is not the living wage. A living wage, as defined, I'm going to read the Wikipedia definition right now, is a living wage is defined as the minimum income necessary for a worker to meet their basic needs. Needs are defined to include food, housing, clothing, transport, healthcare, and utilities. So the minimum wage in Canada and in America does not meet the living wage. They're not the same. So I'll use two examples. The first example is in America, the living wage, as you said, to meet the basic needs, an average in the entire country is $16.54. On average, you need $16.54 in order to meet your basic needs. However, the minimum wage set by the government, the federal government of the US, is $7.25, which means that a person who's earning $7.25 needs 2 full-time jobs and a side gig or economy, like do some Uber or tutor or whatever on the side in order to meet their basic needs. They need something like that. That's 2 jobs. You can't sleep. You cannot sleep in Ontario, the way I am, I'm in Ontario, Canada. I'm the province of Ontario, and the range for living wage is between $16.30 Canadian dollars to $22.08. However, our minimum wage as of literally the January 1st of 2022 is $15. So even in the lowest region, you still $15 is still not enough to pay all of your bills. You still need some sort of part-time job or side gig or something if you are earning minimum wage. The other day I was listening to a podcast news report where in the region in a region in Ontario, they were interviewing a company that was so proud that it was paying $16.50. Like they were doing hirings. They were like, come work for us. They were advertising on the news report. They were like, come work for us. We pay $16.50. It's higher than minimum wage. Like, come work for us. But the reporter brought up the fact that if the workers that they're hiring live in the area that the job is in, the living wage for that area is $18.39. So their lowest workers still cannot afford the basic necessities. Even though they're paying more than minimum wage, they're still not meeting the bare minimum. Bare minimum is living wage. No one can live on this. No one can sustain this. That's why a lot of jobs that we're seeing, a lot of people are resigning because they're not getting their living wage. So they're going to jobs that are paying that living wage, because who wants to work at Burger King or McDonald's or as a server just getting the bare minimum and then having to work 60-80 hours plus a little side hustle or whatever just to pay your bills? It's unsustainable, because how long can you do that? It's very bad for your mental health to have to like go or work 80 hours a week. It's unsustainable. It doesn't work for anybody. Like, no matter what the billionaires tell you, they're not working 80 hours a week every single week for their entire lives. It's impossible. Or they're like made of steel, they're robots, and they're not humans. No human can do it. Then we have the other side, the jobs that do pay a living wage. Remember when I defined living wage, it means the basic needs. It doesn't cover luxury things. It's basic needs. It's calculated on basic needs. So there are jobs that do pay living wage out there. We all have them. I have one. Many of you probably have one. But the problem with the jobs that pay living wage is that they pat themselves on the back. They're like, we're doing such a great job. Look at us paying the living wage, even though that is the bare minimum. And a lot of the time, these jobs are not paying or providing much else on top of that. They're not providing no health benefits. They're not providing maternity. They're not providing paid time off or like enough paid time off. They're providing, apparently in America, you guys are getting 1 week paid time off, or here they're doing the bare minimum and only providing 2 weeks paid time off, and it's like, that's the legal bare minimum. They exploit you and take you for everything you have. They expect your undying loyalty. Like, if you quit or resign or ask for a raise, they take it as an offense, because it's like, I'm already paying you so high, so high. You should be so grateful that I'm giving you all of this, when it's no. You need, I don't want to just have my basic needs covered for. I want to have luxury items. I want to be able to get like bubble tea or takeout once in a while. I should be able to do those things. Take an Uber once in a while. On top of that, especially if you're salary, they expect you to work overtime for free. They're not going to pay you extra for working overtime. They're not going to give you like time in lieu for overtime. They expect you to do it for free. Because, I pay you so much. So much. I did a little bit of I did some calculations. Let's say this company out there paying $20 an hour, right? They're paying you $20 an hour, and if you're working 40 hours a week, you're getting $800 a week, which is like, depending on where you live, that's solid, However, if you start working overtime and giving your time for free, let's say you work a 50-hour week, your salary, the amount of money that you are getting, is still $800 a week. That doesn't change because they're not going to pay you more for working more. That becomes $16 an hour. So you're down $4. And this is all before taxes. So just by working 10 extra hours for free, you are now making $4 less. And if you're in Canada, you're $1 above minimum wage. That's it. And you're not even making living wage anymore. So you are working for free, you're earning less money, and you are burning yourself out for a company that is supposedly giving you everything. Yeah, don't listen to them. Work your 40 hours and leave. Or at least before you do overtime, sort of calculate depending on how much you're being paid. Like if you're being paid $90, yeah, you can work like a few hours overtime, and then it's not so bad, you're getting $70 or $80. I'm bad at math off the top of my head, but you're getting a decent wage still. But if you're earning if you're just earning the living wage or slightly above minimum wage, you're probably making less than minimum wage at the end of the day if you are just working for free. Make those calculations and also think about your mental health. It's important to have like a work-life balance. Do not work for free. Do not go to companies that don't work for companies that don't provide good benefits also. Because you need those things. Like, how are you going to pay for your healthcare? How are you going to pay for dental? How are you going to pay for your therapist after your job has been stressing you out? How are you going to pay for those things? They should be paying for it, not you. That should be part of it. Like, we're stressing you out here. So, because you're in an environment where you are just getting a living wage, and if you have to work a lot of overtime, you're now almost back to minimum wage or back at minimum wage, depending on how much you're making above minimum wage. And then now for your mental health, you're like, I need to get out of here. So now you have no choice but to get a side hustle or side gig or start your own business in the hopes of getting out of your situation. So you're back to square one, where you're just overworking yourself even more than you're already overworking yourself, and your mental health goes to shit. And then your work at your job just sucks, your business just sucks, you're just in a shitty position, and it just sucks. Now you're in a position where either because you are getting less than minimum wage, less than living wage, or because you're trying to get out of your toxic workplace, now you have to find that side hustle or side gig. There are a lot of legitimate side gigs and hustles, like finding a part-time job that works, or you can do Uber or Lyft or teach lessons. And there's also the fact that you could just start your own business where you put your own capital and own investment, not an MLM. Your own business. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people looking to exploit you, like MLMs and the side hustlers that are like, I'm gonna help you get rich. No millionaires out here being like, I will get you also rich. Like no millionaire wants other rich, like wants to get other people rich. No millionaire is doing that. So do not fall for these side hustlers and gurus who are promising you that with their help and their guidance, after you give them money, you have to give them money. You know, you're gonna get rich off of them. That's not gonna happen. These people are making money by tricking you. You know, the other day I was just scrolling and I saw a YouTube ad that came up that was like, I will help you to become a millionaire. You just have to read my book and take my courses. And out of curiosity, I looked up the net worth of this person. This person's net worth was $52,000, which is actually impressive. It's not negative. Like if you have any debt, your net worth is negative. Or and that's a good down payment in some parts of the world, some parts of Canada and United States. That's a good down payment. You know, that's a good start to a retirement fund. But $52,000 compared to $1 million, really? Really? No. Do not believe these people. They're making money off of you. Their side hustle is tricking you into paying them because you are not going to get anything out of it. If you really want to, if you're that type of person that believes in that stuff, get a library book, like get a self-help library book, you know, at least it's free. Like, yeah, you're wasting your time, but at the very least, you haven't spent any money on this. And then there's MLMs. These are multi-level marketing. These are multi-level multi-level marketing companies. MLMs combine the worst of both worlds. They combine the worst of having a job, and they combine the worst things about having your own business. You know, like with a job, there are cons and pros, and with a business, there's cons and pros. Within MLMs, you just have cons and cons. So the cons of a job is all the BS we just talked about, you know. But the pros of a job is that you have a steady income. You know, you have a paycheck every single week. You know, you can steadily make a budget for yourself, knowing that every week, at the very least, I'm going to get this much money for the most part. And then the cons of a business is that there's the upfront cost. You have to put a lot of investment. You don't know when you're going to hit you don't know when you're going to be successful, and actually if you're going to be successful. And you have to work really hard. Like you have to do the overtime, work the 60 hours in order to be successful. However, you can work at your own time. It's yours. The money that comes out, like no one's cheating you, or no one's just giving you a small fraction of any profit that comes out of having your own like business. Like I think of MLMs, like a lot of MLMs are like, this is your own business, but I like to think of MLMs as sort of like a consulting job, a terrible consulting job, because you are told what to sell by the company, you're told when to work. They always say that, oh no, you can work on your own time, but then you have like your upper team or upper whatever telling you, no, you have to work, why aren't you working? You're being lazy. Like in a business, no one's telling you that. You can just not work. It's fine. But a job, you don't have any freedom. So some of the pros are maybe some friendship. You form really great friendships, but what does that have to do with money? Like who cares that you make great friends? You can just join a book club or do another hobby to make friends. The cons of an MLM is that you have to buy a starter kit, so you have an upfront starting cost with an MLM, and in addition, you don't have the freedoms like a job, so you have to work really hard. You have to work on somebody else's term. It can't be your own business, because in your own business you decide what you sell. In an MLM, they tell you what to sell and when to sell it and the price of what you're selling. So you don't get to decide that either, and how much you have to sell. So you don't set your own goals. The company tells you you have to sell this much in order to blah. Whereas in a business, you can set your own goals and be like, you know what, I just want to like make a living, or I just want to make $1 million. Not just make $1 million. You know what I mean? Like I want to make, think of a more reasonable amount. I want to make a profit of $100,000. The culture that we're currently in is just a lose-lose situation. In conclusion, we lose. You lose either way. If you have a job that pays only minimum wage or less than living wage, you have to get jobs and side gigs in order to supplement your income, which leads to stress. And if you have a job that's paying living wage, just living wage, not like, I'm not talking about the jobs that are paying like $40, $50 an hour. That's a whole other topic, but they are included in this a little bit in terms of the mental health, is that they aren't providing much else and they expect you to work a lot. So at the end of the day, when you calculate your hours, you're kind of back to earning minimum wage or less than living wage. And on top of that, your mental health is also going down the drain. And then if you decide to not get a traditional job and you're in the gig economy, or you're hustling, it's a lot of work. You have to work harder than other people because you're technically self-employed, so you have to work long hours, and again, your mental health is affected. That was the point of my original video idea of, do not overwork yourself. Do not overwork yourself, because it's bad for your mental health. You will burn out and it sucks. Everybody rest. But whether you have a low paying job, whether you have a high paying job, whether you are just doing your own business or your side gigs, we are all going to end up stressed. And I don't know what the solution is. I don't know the only I don't know what solution to provide, except for maybe basic income, without going into too much detail. I don't know what solution to provide without going into too much detail. Do we provide a basic income? Do we maybe raise everything to living wage? Do we enact laws like the law that just came in, and where if you, in Ontario, if you have more than 25 workers, you are not allowed, if your workers are working from home, they now have laws, and where it's you have to allow your workers to turn off their phones and their computers, to not work too long. We should have maybe laws like that where it's yeah, money is great, but it's pay living wage, and in terms of work, have maximum hours for overtime. Despite the money, it's no one is allowed to work over 48 hours of overtime. It's illegal. No matter how much money we're paying you, it's illegal. It's not happening. You know what I mean? So we pay people, we force them to not, we pay people sustainable wage, we force people not to be overworked. Maybe we'll get to my ideal, where I'll one day be able to make a video that says it's okay to have a 9 to 5. Don't listen to these shady hustlers and people saying work. It's unhealthy, because there's no real solution right now, unless, I guess the only solution I can think of is trying to find a job. When you find another job, leave your current jobs that are abusing you and go to other jobs and try and negotiate a work-life balance, or go to companies that promote work-life balance, but unfortunately there's not a lot of those. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess we have to just keep fighting for the little things. As workers, support the unions, support the strikers. I don't have any real conclusion except to keep fighting. Really. This is sad. See you in my next video.